Hey y'all, today I'm super excited. I'm going to show you how to make this block using Penny Rose's new line called Faded Memories. As you can see, it's a navy, light blue, beige, and a dark red, rich red prints, and it's releasing this month, April. So we are going to get started. What you need is two roly-polies, two 40-piece roly-polies, and then you'll want to separate them out into light and dark strip sets. So here's a light one. This is the one we're going to be working with today. Here's a light strip set. You want two of these. So you want two, and then you want matching counterparts, 1 and 2. The reason we're using two strip sets is because you do have a little bit of waste on this one, but you will be able to do an alternative pattern from your leftovers should you choose, or you will just have scraps for another project. What you're going to do though is get 20 blocks each, and the reason we have two is because, as you know, most roly-polies or jelly rolls or roll-ups or any of the 2.5-inch strip sets come where you have one kind of one colorway that comes in one piece and the other comes in one piece. So, or you might have some that come in 3. This evens it out so you can get the full 20 strips or 20 blocks. So first things first, what we're going to do is we are going to sew these strips together, alternating just like this. And you're going to want to do this with all 40 pieces, and you're going to end up cutting into these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go stitch all of these together, and I will meet you right back here. Now that we have all of these sewn together, I want to show you a couple things. One, make sure you press to the dark side on all of them. This is going to be especially important when we go to put the blocks together. It will make so much more sense, but just trust me, press to the dark side, press it nice and flat. And then what I'm going to do here is now we need to cut these into 8.5-inch squares by width. So we are going to, first of all, trim off of all of our little edgy edges. So if you start here, you can see I've lined up all of my salvages, and then on this side, because of the way that the strips and the width of fabric work, they're never going to always be perfect. So we're just going to line this up with our ruler and just make a straight, clean edge. So I usually just kind of line it up this way. You're going to have excess, so taking about 1 inch or so is not going to be a big factor whatsoever. And you just go ahead, pull that off. Now what we're going to do is I have my big 12.5-inch square here, and I'm just going to measure in 8.5 inches. So if you have, I'm going to move this just a skosh so I'm not on that seam. If you have, you don't have a ruler this big, then all you have to do is line it up on your cutting mat and measure over 8.5 and line it up straight. This just makes it go a little bit quicker for me. So we just line this all the way up here, and then we go along, and then all you're going to do is keep doing this along the way. Now I'm going to give you a heads up that I'm going to be switching out the fabric as we go, just so you all can kind of see the different fabrics in this line, in this in the Faded Memories line, so you get an idea of what Jerry Robinson is releasing for Penny Rose. And then we are going to put it all together, and I will show you what that looks like. So just keep doing this along the way, and when we get done. Now, notice here how it's not 100% perfect. I made a little bit of a boo on purpose, but made a little bit of a boo. It really doesn't matter. What we're looking to do is just make sure that that 8.5-inch right here on the point is where it's at, because we're going to be cutting these on the diagonal. So once we get these all cut, you will have one extra. You want 4 8.5-inch wide squares, just like this. So I guess they're going to be more of a rectangle, but you want them nonetheless. And you're going to have this little extra piece. You can use this for whatever you want. It's extra on the situation. So I'm going to meet you right back here. I'm going to switch out, grab your rotating mat, my favorite thing in the entire world, and a 6-inch square. Now that we have our strips cut into their 8.5-inch rectangular square pieces, we're going to cut them into their diamond shapes. So you just need your 6" by a square. If you don't have that, you can use, it's a 45-degree angle. So here's my regular ruler, and then you can see here the angle that it's going to be is 45. So you'll just have to line that up accordingly. But 6". Put it on the bias. Mine has a nice bias line in the middle, but you really want to line it up tip to tip. Even pressure is important here because your ruler comes right to the edge, so you really want to start halfway on, halfway off. Even pressure all the way around, just like this. And then I lift up. I don't leave it on there. I rotate. Even pressure again. And here's your diamond block. So I'm going to do a couple more just so you can see some of the other lines in this, or other colorways in this line. And then I'm going to show you how to put them all together. So feel free to fast forward if you got that, or if you still, I mean, if you want to see these lines, I would stick around and look at them all. You'll see them at the end as well. But again, we're just even pressure. And you can see, again, I cannot be a big enough advocate for a rotating mat. Along here, and if you don't, it's always fine. You can always stand at the edge of your table and just walk around to the sides. And let's see, we'll do this one. We just did this one. I'm trying to find fun ones for y'all so you can see kind of the different ones in the line. Let's see, we'll do another star, but you'll get to see them all as we start piecing this together. You will definitely get to see them all, especially at the end when I show you the quilt. Okay, and then we rotate again, even pressure. Sometimes you might lose your sight. You can always realign it up. Now, what if you have a square that doesn't have the center line and you're like, I really want that center line? Just take a piece of painter's tape, label it end to end here, and just line it up straight, and you can always remove it later. Just put the stickies tied on this side so you can see it through, and you'll be fine. Okay, let's lay some of these out. So here's another strip set that we have, and what we want to do, the point of this is to rotate the colors. That's why we did every other color. So you don't want it to line up like this. By all means, you can have it that way, but the design of this quilt is to alternate them. It gives it kind of a fun semi-pinwheel look, but it definitely gives it dimension when the whole quilt is together, and that's what we're looking for. So that's your final layout, and what we're going to do is we're going to start pinning. So let me show you how we're going to pin with a different colorway. So here is this one. So we're going to get this laid out. Just like this. And remember when I told you to match or press to the dark side? It's going to make matching your seams infinitely easier. So we're going to pull this off. We're going to pin here. I pin on this entire quilt because you have a lot of matching seams. So the first thing I do is I line up my points, nest my seams, which is what happens when we press to the dark side, and we're using dark on light, light on dark. And if you're not using light on dark, you know, if you're using matching different ones that are all over the place, you can still get the same effect. A lot of times you can still press to one side, just keep it consistent. So then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and press just like this. Go ahead, stitch the seam. I'll do another one here. We're going to line these up. And I am just pinning these. I mean, we're going to have matching regardless because of the way we cut these. But you really want to just pin these seams. Don't be afraid to pin on the angle. It's really about keeping those in place. Not necessarily, you know, you're not doing any really crazy circles or anything that you really need to keep pinning to have it in. It's not like you're doing a sleeve or anything. Okay, so let's go stitch those together. Then we'll come back here. I'll show you how to put the whole thing together, and then we will start on some sashing. Now that we have these two put together, right here, I'm going to take out my pins. Usually depending on where you pinned, you can or you don't have to. And then I'm going to show you a trick for pressing these so you can match your seams as well going forward. So what you're going to do is you're just going to take one, pick whatever you want, and go ahead and press it. Press it open. Just like this. And if you follow me for a while, you'll know that I usually take you over to my ironing board. But we have a new setup, and I love a wireless iron. So here's the top. We're going to set this like this. Now you see that I pressed towards this side. So what I usually just do is I kind of eyeball it and I think, okay, I need to press this side. So whatever side you're pressing towards, you have on the top. So then I set my seam, press it open, and then we reline it up, and voila, we have perfectly nesting seams. So when we pull this together, and look at how nice and evenly they match as we do this. So because we pinned, and so now what we're going to do is we're going to come in here. I always start in the center because that's what makes your block, and we will just pin through. I always line it up right on the stitch seam, and it should pop right through on the other stitch seam. And then you're going to just do the exact same thing with these, which should still nest because we're doing light and dark again as your option, but you can still kind of feel through to make sure that you're getting what you want. And then we're just going to stitch along here, and when we get back, we'll open it up and I will show you what it looks like. Now that this is all stitched, we're just going to press, set our seam, and then the easiest way for me, because this gets a little bulky, so what I kind of do is I just open it, I get this side, I get this side, then I kind of come in flat on this top part, and then I do my full stitching. It's easier if you have an ironing board that has a little bit of give to it on this particular instance. My other one is pretty flat, so it does not forgive very easily. And that is your block. So we will go ahead and create all of the other blocks. Here are all the blocks, y'all. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and here is the final quilt. As always, remember to follow along with us on Pinterest, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Thanks, y'all.